Primorsky Krai, informally known as Primorye, is the Russian name for a province of Russia. Primorsky means maritime in Russian, so in English translation it is known as the Maritime Province or Maritime Territory. Its administrative center is in the city of Vladivostok. The region's population is 1,956,497. Today, Primorsky Krai has the largest economy in the Russian Far East. Geography. Borders length over 3,000 kilometers, including 1,350 kilometers of the sea borders. Highest peak, Anak Mountain, 1,933 meters. Railroads length, 1,628 kilometers are electrified. Automobile roads length, 12,633 kilometers. Primorsky Krai, bordered by China, North Korea, and the relatively warm, although freezing in winter, waters of the Sea of Japan, is the southeasternmost region of Russia, located between the 42 degrees and 48 degrees north latitude and 130 degrees and 139 degrees east longitude. It is stretched in the meridional direction, the distance from its extreme northern point to its most southerly point being about 900 kilometers. Topography. Highlands dominate the territory of the Krai. Most of the territory is mountainous, and almost 80% of it is forested. The average elevation is about 500 meters. Sikhote is a mountainous formation, extending for the most part of the Krai. It consists of a number of parallel ranges, the Partizansky, the Siny, the Kolodny, and others. There are many karst caves in the south of Primorye. The relatively accessible Spyashchaya Krasovitsa cave in the Usharyisky Nature Preserve could be recommended for tourists. There are comparatively well-preserved fragments of the ancient volcanoes in the area. The ranges are cut by the picturesque narrow and deep valleys of the rivers and by large brooks, such as the Partizanskaya, the Kiyevka, the Zerkalnaya, the Cheryomukovaya, the Yedinka, the Samargup, the Begin, and the Bolshaya Russia. Most rivers in the Krai have rocky bottoms and limpid water. The largest among them is the Ushary, with a length of 903 kilometers. The head of the Ushary River originates 20 kilometers to the east of Oblakhnaya Mountain. The vast Kanka lowlands extends into the west and the southwest of Primorye, carpeted by coniferous deciduous forests. A part of the lowland surrounding the largest lake in the Russian Far East, Kanka Lake, is occupied by a forest steppe. Flora and fauna. The geographic location of Primorye accounts for the variety of its flora. There are mountainous tundra areas, conifers and coniferous deciduous forests, and forest steppe, which is sometimes called the Far Eastern Prairie, where many ancient plant species have been preserved, including ferns, lotus, and the Chrysinia willow. The fauna of Primorye is also diverse. The following animals are found in the Krai: Ushary black bear, Amur tiger, Amur leopard, lynx, wild boar, Manchurian deer, Siberian roe deer, musk deer, long-tailed goral, sika deer, sable, black Istrin's fish owl, mandarinka duck, black stork, scaly goosander, chestnut-cheeked starling, black griffon, large-winged cuckoo, and others. Among 690 species of birds inhabiting the territory of the former USSR, 350 are found in Primorye. Rich fisheries of salmon, harchotaimen, lennik and marine fisheries of crab, pollock and other species make the aquatic and maritime environment a valuable resource for the region. However, the rich diversity of wildlife in Primorye is threatened by poaching and the illegal wildlife trade. Wildlife Conservation Society, World Wildlife Fund, Wild Salmon Center, and Russian NGOs including Phoenix Fund are active in the region's wildlife and habitat conservation. Climate: average annual temperature, near +1 degrees Celsius in the north of the Krai, +5.5 degrees Celsius on the southern coast. Average annual precipitation, 600 to 850 millimeters. History: the acquisition of Siberia by the Tsardom of Russia and the subsequent Russian expansion to the Far East brought the Russians into direct contact with China. The Nerchinsk Treaty of 1689, demarcating the borders of the two states, gave all lands lying south of the Stanovoy Mountains, including Primorye, to the Qing Empire. However, with the weakening of the Qing Empire in the second half of the 19th century, Russia began its expansion into the area. In 1858, the towns of Khabarovsk and Blagoveshchensk were founded. In 1858, Nikolai Muravyev-Amursky signed the Agan Treaty with China, followed by the Beijing Treaty 2 years later. As a result of the two treaties, the Sino-Russian border shifted south to the Amur and Ushuri rivers, granting Russia full control of Primorye. Primorsky Oblast was established as the easternmost division of the Russian Empire in 1856. It included the territory of modern Primorsky Krai as well as the territories of modern Khabarovsk Krai and Magadan Oblast, stretching from Vladivostok to the Chukchi Peninsula in the far north. In the period from 1859 to 1882, 95 settlements were established in the Primorye region, including Vladivostok, Ushuriysk, Razdolnoye, Vladimiro Alexandrovskoye, Shkotovo, Pokrouka, Tari Roj, and Kamenny Rybolov. The population was primarily engaged in hunting, fishing and cultivation. These activities involved more than two-thirds of the territory's inhabitants. The latter part of the 19th century saw significant economic development in Primorye. Coal mining became a prominent industry, as did the export of sea kale, velvet antlers, timber, crab, dried fish, and trepangs. The rapid economic expansion of Primorye was financed in large measure by Russian and foreign capital investment. After the Russian Revolution, Primorsky Oblast was replaced by the Zemstvo of Maritime Territory, and later by Far Eastern Republic. Within the Russian SFSR, this became Far Eastern Oblast and then Far Eastern Krai. The area became a battleground for Allied and Bolshevik troops in the Siberian intervention. In 1922, shortly before the end of the Civil War, Primorye came under Bolshevik control, and the economic, scientific, and cultural development of the territory was dictated by the new government. The Soviet government spent the following 10 years combating bourgeois ideology in many areas of life and culture. As a result, the music, theater, literature, and the fine arts of Primorye were censored. Primorsky was also the center of the Korean minority of Russia, with the POSET Korean National Raion being created under the policy of Koreanizatsiya. The Krai had 105 both fully and mixed Korean towns which used the Korean language. There were nearly 200,000 living in the Krai by the time of their deportation in 1938. The period also saw the beginnings of centralized planning. As in the rest of the Soviet Union, priority was given to heavy industry, with a special emphasis on mining and commercial fishing. Rail and sea transit was greatly expanded, and new port facilities were constructed. Primorsky Krai was formed by further subdivision of Far Eastern Krai in 1938, as part of the Stalin-era policy of unbundling. Primorsky Krai, as defined in 1938, corresponds to the northeastern part of the historical region of Outer Manchuria. On April 18, 1942, the region became unwillingly involved in World War II as Primorsky Krai became the location of the landing of one of the 16 United States Army Air Corps B-25 Mitchell medium bombers which had been launched from US Hornet to carry out the famous Doolittle raid on Japan. Japan and the Soviet Union were not then at war. The landing occurred 40 miles west of Vladivostok. The bomber's crew deciding to abort the mission while en route from Tokyo due to excessive fuel consumption. The 1970s witnessed an expansion of scientific institutions in Primorye, especially in the city of Vladivostok. As a result, the city possesses several large research institutions such as the Institute of Biology and Agriculture, the Pacific Institute of Bioorganic Chemistry, the Institute of Marine Biology, the Pacific Institute of Geography, the Pacific Oceanological Institute, as well as several institutes affiliated with the Far Eastern Division of the Russian Academy of Science. By the early 1990s, the once small enterprises had developed into large companies. Some of the most prominent include the DVMP Shipping Company, the Dalmari Product Seafood Concern, Progress Arsenyev Aircraft Works, and Vostok Mining. Commercial fishing plays an important part in the economy of the Primorye and includes firms like Vladivostok Trawling and Refrigerating Fleet, the active marine fisheries base of Nakhodka, and the fishing and marine transport fleet of Primorye. Numerous enterprises of the Russian military-industrial complex were also established in Primorye. Politics. During the Soviet period, the high authority in the oblast was shared between three persons: the first secretary of the Primorsky CPSU Committee, the chairman of the Oblast Soviet, and the chairman of the Oblast Executive Committee. After 1991, the head of the Oblast administration and eventually the governor was elected alongside elected regional parliament. The Charter of Primorsky Krai is the fundamental law of the region. The Legislative Assembly of Primorsky Krai is the province's regional standing legislative body. The Legislative Assembly exercises its authority by passing laws, resolutions, and other legal acts and by supervising the implementation and observance of the laws and other legal acts passed by it. The highest executive body is the Oblast government, which includes territorial executive bodies such as district administrations, committees, and commissions that facilitate development and run the day-to-day matters of the province. The Oblast administration supports the activities of the governor, who is the highest official and acts as guarantor of the observance of the Krai Charter in accordance with the Constitution of Russia. Administrative divisions. Economy. Primorsky Krai's economy, the most balanced in the Russian Far East, is also the largest in absolute terms. Food production is the most important sector, represented mainly by fish processing. Annual catch exceeds 2 million tons, or 1/2 of the Russian Far East total. Second is machine building, where half of the output is geared toward the fishing industry and shipyards. Defense is another important sector, producing naval vessels and military aircraft. The construction materials industry here provides for the whole Russian Far East. Lead smelting is conducted in Rudna-Pristan on the coast. The timber industry, though in recession, is still second only to Khabarovsk Krais, with an annual yield of about 3 million cubic meters of timber. Primorsky Krai is the largest coal producer in the Russian Far East and generates more electricity than any other Russian Far East administrative division. But power shortages are common. Agriculture is also important. The Krai produces rice, milk, eggs, and vegetables. Primorsky Krai is the Russian Far East's banking and finance center. It has more than 100 banks and affiliates and well-developed futures and stock exchanges. The Krai's proximity to Pacific Rim markets gives it an edge over most other Russian Far East administrative divisions in developing foreign trade. Major trade items are seafood products, timber products, and ferrous metals. Major trading partners are Japan, China, and South Korea. The economy will be further diversified with the addition of as many as 8 government-sanctioned casinos to be built in the Primorye gambling zone, which encompasses the entire Primorsky Krai. Primorsky Entertainment Resort City, under development by Nagacorp Limited, of Phnom Penh, Kingdom of Cambodia, will be the largest. The development is expected to cost in the region of Rub 11.6 billion and have a total footprint of 214.89 hectares. Primorsky Krai's compact territory is well endowed with infrastructure. Its railway density is twice the Russian average. Railroads connect it with China and North Korea. Vladivostok, the eastern terminus of the Trans-Siberian Railway, was surpassed as a port by the nearby Vostochny port container, coal and timber terminals. Primorsky Krai-based shipping companies provide 80% of marine shipping services in the Russian Far East. All the Krai's significant ports are now open to international shipping. Demographics. In the past, several Tungusic and Paleo-Siberian peoples lived here prior to Russian colonization. Udages, Niks, Oroks, Alks, Oroks, and Mankus. Contemporary demographics. Population. According to the 2010 census, the population of the Krai is 1,956,497, down from 2,071,210 recorded in the 2002 census, and further down from 2,258,391 recorded in the 1989 census. Due to its geographical location, the Krai boasts a mixture of not only ethnic Russians, but also Koreans, Volga Germans, Buryats, Nane, and Oroks. The indigenous Udega and the sub-minority, the Taz, are the region's aboriginals. Ethnic groups in the 2010 census. The following ethnic groups were listed: Russian 92.5%, Ukrainian 2.8%, Korean 1%, Tatar 0.6%, Uzbek 0.5%, Belarusian 0.3%, Armenian 0.3%, Azeri 0.2%, Mordvin 0.1%, Chinese 0.2%, others 1.5%. 144,927 people were registered from administrative databases and could not declare an ethnicity. It is estimated that the proportion of ethnicities in this group is the same as that of the declared group. Birth rate 12.4, death rate 13.7. Russian demographics # population statistics. Total fertility rate. Average life expectancy in 1994, 62.5 years. Religion. According to a 2012 official survey, 26.6% of the population of Primorsky Krai adheres to the Russian Orthodox Church. 6% are unaffiliated generic Christians, 1% adheres to other Orthodox churches or is an Orthodox believer without belonging to any church, and 1% of the population adheres to the Slavic native faith or to local Siberian native faiths. In addition, 24% of the population declares to be spiritual but not religious, 35% is atheist, and 6.4% follows other religions or did not give an answer to the question. Meteorite. The Krai is the location of the massive Sikhote-Alin meteorite, which fell February 12, 1947, in the Siko-Dalan Mountains, near the village of Paseka. Sister districts: Gangwon, South Korea; Gyeongsang-Bukdo, South Korea; Gyeongsang-Namdo, South Korea; Osaka Prefecture, Japan; Toyama Prefecture, Japan.